Stephen, you took us back to 2008 and 2009. Kevin Steele, of course, takes us back to 2007 with Nick Saban. Of course, he's back running the defense. Stephen, I want to respect your time, so definitely let us know when you need to go. But I did want to hit on the defense. So your thoughts about Kevin Steele back? How does the defense look in August?
I mean, Kevin Steele has brought back an energy, a confidence, a discipline that has not been where this program is concerned the last few years. I remember I was speaking to Terrion Arnold, Alabama cornerback, during player interviews, and Terrion said, look, Coach Steele's energy, his voice, puts us in the mood to play football. And I'm like, wait a minute here. That's like Scott Cochran almost, because we remember Scott Cochran from 2007 to 19. That was his role. He was the booming voice in the locker room. He was the booming voice on the practice field. He was the voice that got you motivated and in the mood to play football. So did Coach Saban pull a Walmart 2-for-1 with getting a Kevin Steele that's a defensive mastermind and an energy voice too? I mean, my goodness, hearing that from Terrion Arnold had me excited to go. But I mean, here's a guy that's been 40 plus years of experience coaching in college football, especially in the SEC. And hearing him speak at Alabama's media day earlier this month, he talked about the talent is right here in Tuscaloosa. The talent is right here in this program. It's just having these guys back playing relentless, crazy, smash mouth, knock 'em out football. And that's what Kevin Steele is doing here so far in fall camp. And the discipline part of that, his main goal is cutting out the penalties. Alabama had so many penalties this past year, but Kevin Steele has gotten the gist of shutting that down, and he's been doing that here in fall camp. So the defense is right where it needs to be. I know guys are trying to gather more depth at different positions, but the energy is there, the motivation is there, and my goodness, the Kevin Steele is having these guys in the mood to play football.
I always like to hit you with a personnel question, Stephen. Any particular player or two or three on the defensive side that you think that this is a huge last couple weeks of training camp for leading into 23?
I think number one, this is a big camp. Number one. For a guy like Chris Braswell. This is a big camp for him. I mean, he's going to be the one taking over for the departed Will Anderson at one of those two outside linebacker positions. Braswell has had a very strong camp. He's gotten bigger. He's gotten stronger as a pass rusher. He's gotten stronger in setting that edge to stop the run as well. So Braswell, a big camp here for him coming down the stretch. Another guy, I would look at Malachi Moore. Back for his senior season, a guy that we saw him as a freshman in 2020, and he took off fast. 6 pass breakups, 3 interceptions to lead the team, helped the team to a national championship in the COVID-shortened year, has battled some injuries since then, but finally healthy. Finally, fully healthy, and a guy that can play all over the secondary, Mark. He can play nickel. He can play dime, the money position. He can play safety. He can play everywhere. So Alabama trying to get more of their athletic defensive backs from the field, but it starts with Malachi Moore right there. I'm really excited to see what he does defensively. And then last but not least, number 3, this is a big camp for Tim Smith on the defensive line. If that defensive end position, we all remember he came in a 5-star from Florida in 2020, but he's kind of been up and down, and Saban talked about it. He wants to see more consistency from him, firing off the ball, being explosive, making those types of plays that we saw him make at Sebastian River High School. So big season here for Tim Smith to kind of put that thing all together.
And one more time, Stephen, you would not be surprised if there is still a quarterback competition in play when Texas comes to town.
I wouldn't be shocked. It would not shock me one way or another, because that's the game where we will see what this Alabama team is. Steve Sarkisian rolls into Tuscaloosa. Quinn Ewers is back. He cut the mullet, so he's back. You know what you're going to get offensively and defensively from an improved Texas bunch who came 1 point from beating Alabama just a season ago in Austin. So that matchup in Tuscaloosa will be the matchup to determine what is this Alabama football team.
And, you bring up the 1-point win in Austin last year, and it goes perfectly along with what you were saying 5 or 10 minutes ago about Bryce Young bailing out this team. You talk about him getting a blitz off the corner from Ryan Watts with about 15 seconds left in the game. And if he doesn't shake off that would-be blitzer and gets sacked at midfield, the game's probably over. But he shakes off the blitzer. He gets loose. He scampers down the sideline for 30-some yards and sets up the game-winning field goal. And that's just a perfect example of Bryce Young bailing out this team multiple times.
It is, and also in that game, Mark, remember, Bama had the ball in the red zone. Bryce Young backing up, buying time, and fires a dart to Jahmyr Gibbs in the back of the end zone, and that was a touchdown. So there were several plays in that game where you chalk it up to a five-star talent with cerebral ability. There's a reason why Frank Reich was like, look, we're going to trade up to number 1 with the Bears, grab that number 1 pick, and take our quarterback and develop for this future that we have here.
And before we let you go, Stephen, I know recruiting cools off about this time, but obviously there's still work in the phone lines. Anything that we should look out for in the next couple months as we get into the season? Any particular targets that may announce that you're aware of?
Well, right now, not at this moment. Right now, I know a lot of these guys are focused on getting their senior year started and trying to, polish some things up in their game before they make that final move to sign that national letter of intent wherever they may be going to. For Alabama, one position, I should say, but I would definitely look at is that defensive back position. Alabama's been stacking up there. When you look at Jalen Mbakwe has committed, you look at Xavier Brown has committed, guys like Jameer Grimsley have committed, Peyton Woodyard. Alabama has recently flipped him from Georgia. So Coach Saban really building this defensive back class. The one thing that I want to look at as far as 2024 is the Alabama wide receiver class here in this recruitment. Lost out on the likes of Perry Thompson, who flipped from Alabama to Auburn. They still have Rico Scott committed at this point to Alabama. Would like to see the Tide try to get a bit more in that wide receiver class here for this 2024 campaign.
All right, folks. Again, it's In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama. In My Own Words. It's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on YouTube at 6:30 Central. And it is a great listen for Alabama football fans, SEC football fans. If you just love college football and you want to keep up with the very best and elite programs, it's a great listen with Stephen each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And of course, Touchdown Alabama is the place to be for your Alabama football coverage. First and foremost, we do our best here, but that should be your number one stop. Touchdown Alabama with Stephen and the crew, no doubt about that. And we appreciate Stephen jumping on here every week or two to get us updated. So, Stephen, it's always a good time. It's always great to see you. Stay cool. Do whatever you need to do. Plenty of fluids, of course.
Absolutely, man. I am stockpiling on water and a lot of Powerade, but definitely that water stockpiling in on. And hopefully this Saturday we'll get more from this scrimmage, more from the quarterbacks. And hopefully this time we will see truly somebody pull away so we do not have to wait until the Texas game.